So some of these, I think I've responded to you individually a couple of months back, because I looked back at my notes and I'd made the notes back then, but never actually made the video in response to you back then. And as the item may be useful for someone else, I've decided I'm going to make the video now. So here we go. So the first one is from a user, excuse me, 3333, and I've had a number of exchanges with this guy. He's quite a nice chap, actually. Well, he says, "Hi tech guy, thank you for explaining this again." So this is in response to Roland MX-1 USB ports video I did a while back. In the video, just after 5 minutes, you said you can plug any of the Aria products into the non-bus powered USB-A ports. However, the new Aria VT4 unit only has phantom power, so technically it will not operate in the non-bus powered USB-A ports. And he is utterly correct. It won't. You need to power this one. And the reason why you need to power it is because obviously it has phantom power, so it needs to pull a little bit more current. So what I said was, yeah, the VT4 seems to be following the sort of the boutique setup, which is where it has is expecting power to come in via the either the USB port, or it's expecting you to put batteries in it. Again, I'm not sure I would ever power one of these things with batteries. The whole concept of putting batteries in these things is something I just find not really appealing, apart from the fact you'll probably put it away, forget about it, and the batteries will leak anyway, so not a great idea. But you do need to put it into the powered USB port. And again, this is another one of those ones where we sort of come back and say, Roland, where is MX2? Where is something that can power the boutiques? You know, you've produced this. MX-1 is great for what it is. World's moved on, why haven't you? We were actually hoping for an MX-1 on 808 Day last year, but sadly it didn't arrive, and it hasn't arrived to Christmas, so one can only hope that the MX-2 is on its way. So the next one is from Snoo Lee, and he writes, "Wow, what are those swank red synth covers you have?" Well, I get asked this a hell of a lot about these covers. So I don't respond to every one of these individually, but occasionally I will sort of stick something in one of these mailbag concerts. It was in response to something I was doing on the Yamaha FB01, sort of an overview video, and they're padded covers. I've said this before many times. They're padded covers. I have 4mm padded covers that I put on a lot of the equipment. In fact, I put on all the equipment in the studio. Any keyboard, any flat surface has one of these covers, even if it goes off the storage, because the cover effectively sits across the synth in the case. They're 4mm. They're made by a company in the UK called Piano Covers Online, pianocoversonline.co.uk. Go check them out. I am absolutely sure they would love to receive your order. Okay, the next one comes from Guideline. And basically this is in response to how to check the firmware on the Roland TB3. And what he basically asks is, I've heard there is a difference between pre and post upgrades of the TB3. And what do I think? Well, I have to be honest and say, I did not hear a noticeable difference between the TB3 before I upgraded it and the TB3 after I upgraded it. Now, whether that's because I wasn't really listening for it, but as far as I was concerned, the thing sounded exactly the same on how I'm using it. So there is no difference between the two. The upgrade purely fixes things and sets the unit up for operation with things like the MX-1 and some of the bits and bobs that Roland has been playing with. So that's all it is. I would highly recommend with the Aria and the TB series that you make sure you're on the latest version of the firmware, and always keep on the latest version of the firmware unless there is a good reason not to, like a load of users said, don't do this. But from my point of view, all of the upgrades have been worthwhile. And the last one in this section is from Tom Bruckner. I'm also looking for replacement buttons for the T1. Unfortunately, they're already sold out on Cintight. Any chance to get some ideas? And again, this comes from a mailbag item I did on in July 18 last year. Good God. So I looked around for these at the time. So this is going back a couple of months, and there are parts being sold. I think the problem is with a lot of this legacy stuff, it's just a case of legwork. Really is. Googling Syntor is a good source of parts. They always have been a good source of parts because they break synths down. The problem is that obviously with Syntor, if they haven't got the parts in stock, that's tough. And the other thing I find with Syntor, or I found with Syntor personally, is extremely good source of parts. The shipping is a little on the expensive side, but you know, what do you expect? They are shipping, they are fully insuring, so. But there are other places, and I found parts on the vintagesynthparts.com site under Korg, so T-series. There were parts there. Again, this comes back to something I said about a rant last year. It was where I said there must be a way of being able to get these parts reproduced in a limited quantity at least, or I am seriously thinking about getting a 3D printer and starting to think about how to print some of these bits up, because it's, I mean, you know what it is. It's the knobs, it's the slider tops. These are the things that get caught when you're putting things in and out of bags, and they ping off and they never get replaced, and you end up with sliders with no caps and knobs with no caps, or the knob gets broken. It's the simple stuff that really ruins the aesthetics of one of these synthesizers or one of these pieces of equipment, and we need to sort of, as a community, we need to sort out an easy way of being able to deal with this. So this is the point in the video where I turn around to you, my viewer, and say, if you enjoyed the content of this video, please give it a thumbs up. The way the Google and YouTube analytic engines work is that the more likes you get against a video, the more it gets promoted by YouTube and Google, and therefore more people with the similar interests to what you have and I have get to see this content. This channel is driven by my love of music technology. That's what it's called, the Music Tech Guy thought. If you've got queries, want to ask questions about themes or issues I raise on this channel, please, please, please do. Put your comments into the comment section below the video, and I will try to address whatever issue it is you've raised or whatever question you've raised. If it's something to do with me making future videos in terms of how to do something on a particular piece of equipment I possess, please feel free to say that as well. I can't promise to make videos on all the requests I get, but I do have a jolly good go at making most of them. Around about here is the subscribe button. Again, to do with the YouTube and Google analytic process, the more subscribers the channel gets, the more the channel gets promoted, and the more people get to see the content that you have obviously just watched. If you want to see my latest video, it will be in one of these two boxes on this side of the screen. Also, there is a second box there, and that video will be chosen for you by YouTube based on your YouTube preferences. I look forward to the next time that we interact, and I do mean interact because I always enjoy reading your comments back to me. But for now, bye bye.